You're staying poor because you think like a poor person. Watching millionaires build wealth effortlessly while you struggle financially. Recognizing that wealth is not about money, but about psychology and thinking patterns. Knowing that how you think determines what you achieve financially. And losing massive wealth potential, because without millionaire psychology, wealth remains impossible dream, while millionaire mindset makes wealth inevitable outcome. This poverty mindset is systematically destroying your financial potential by ensuring poor thinking produces poor results. Destroying your opportunities by making you see obstacles instead of possibilities. Destroying your wealth-building capacity by programming scarcity thinking. Destroying your financial decisions by creating fear-based choices. And ensuring that years pass without wealth accumulation, because poverty psychology guarantees poverty, while millionaire psychology creates wealth. Regardless of starting point, developing millionaire psychology is not about positive thinking or affirmations, but understanding how millionaires actually think about money, wealth, and opportunity. Not about pretending to be rich, but genuinely transforming mental models about wealth. And not mysterious gift, but learnable psychology anyone can develop through commitment. This audiobook teaches millionaire thinking through 10 fundamental psychological principles separating millionaires from poor people, the mindset patterns that create wealth automatically, the mental frameworks that make wealth building natural, the psychological shifts that transform financial results, and the millionaire identity that makes wealth inevitable. Stop thinking like poor person and start thinking like millionaire. Stop accepting poverty and start building wealth. Develop millionaire psychology systematically. Think about money like wealthy people do. Adopt wealth-building mental models. And master wealth-building psychology through unwavering commitment, starting now. Chapter 1. Millionaires see abundance. Poor people see scarcity. Millionaires see abundance everywhere, while poor people see only scarcity, because perception determines possibilities. The abundance mindset recognizes that wealth is created, not just redistributed. That opportunities exist everywhere for those who look, that money flows abundantly throughout economy, that creating value generates unlimited wealth, and that abundance thinking attracts wealth, while scarcity thinking repels it. Scarcity thinking creates poverty. Abundance thinking creates wealth. Choose abundance or stay poor. Millionaires demonstrate abundance thinking by seeing unlimited opportunities in every situation, believing wealth is available to anyone willing to create value. Focusing mental energy on creating and possibilities, thinking about what's possible, not what's limited. Treating world as abundant place, full of opportunity, and understanding that wealth is mindset before becoming reality. Poor people demonstrate scarcity thinking by believing wealth is limited pie being divided. Thinking someone else's gain automatically means their loss, focusing constantly on lack and limitation. Competing for supposedly scarce resources. Treating world as zero-sum game, where someone must lose, and ensuring scarcity mindset creates scarcity reality through self-fulfilling prophecy. The abundance evidence shows that economy grows continuously, creating new wealth. That wealth is created through value addition, not taken from others. That entrepreneurs create wealth from nothing through ideas and execution. That technology expands possibilities and wealth continuously. And that abundant thinking enables wealth creation, while scarce thinking prevents seeing opportunities. The scarcity trap includes believing there's not enough for everyone to be wealthy, thinking you must take from others to gain wealth, focusing on what's missing instead of what's possible, competing instead of creating value, and treating scarcity as objective reality, not mental choice. The abundance practice involves consciously choosing to see opportunities everywhere. Focusing mental energy on possibilities, not limitations. Believing wealth can be created through value, looking constantly for ways to add value and serve, and treating abundance as deliberate mental decision, not circumstance. The opportunity recognition shows that abundance thinkers spot opportunities others miss, that seeing possibilities enables pursuing them, that scarcity focus blinds to opportunities, that mindset literally determines what you perceive, and that training abundance thinking increases wealth. The wealth creation mindset understands that millionaires create wealth through businesses and investments, that creating value for others generates wealth, that economy is not fixed pie but expanding continuously, that everyone can be wealthy simultaneously through value creation, and that abundance thinking is wealth prerequisite. The scarcity costs include missing opportunities others see clearly, staying stuck in poverty mindset, competing instead of creating, feeling powerless to build wealth, and ensuring scarcity thinking becomes self-fulfilling poverty prophecy. The mindset shift process involves catching scarcity thoughts when they arise, consciously replacing with abundance perspective, looking for opportunities in every situation, training brain to see possibilities, and making abundance thinking automatic habit. The implementation requires shifting from scarcity to abundance thinking immediately, seeing opportunities where others see obstacles only, believing in wealth creation possibilities genuinely, focusing all mental energy on abundance and possibilities, treating abundance mindset as fundamental wealth psychology, and understanding that abundance thinking makes wealth building possible where scarcity thinking guaranteed. Continued poverty through blindness to opportunities and belief in limitation. Scarcity thinking creates poverty. Abundance thinking creates wealth. Choose abundance or stay poor. You understand now that perception determines possibilities, that millionaires see abundance, that poor people see scarcity, that thinking creates reality, and that Chapter 1 provides foundation making wealth possible, where scarcity made poverty inevitable. Chapter 2. Millionaires focus on income. Poor people focus on expenses. Millionaires focus on increasing income, while poor people focus on cutting expenses, because focus determines financial results. The income-focused mindset constantly asks, how can I earn more money? Actively seeks ways to increase value provided to market. Thinks continuously about scaling income streams. Invests time in income growth activities. Treats income as expandable and unlimited. And understands that increasing earnings beats cutting spending always. Expense focus keeps you poor. Income focus makes you rich. Focus on earning or stay broke. Poor people demonstrate expense focus by constantly asking, how can I spend less? Focusing mental energy on saving pennies, thinking primarily about costs and expenses, investing time in coupon clipping and deal hunting, treating income as fixed unchangeable number, and ensuring expense focus keeps income perpetually low. The income expansion psychology shows that income has unlimited upside potential theoretically, that focusing on earning naturally increases income over time, that value creation generates unlimited wealth, that spending time on income growth multiplies results exponentially, and that income focus is fundamental millionaire mindset. The expense reduction limits show that expenses can only decrease so far before hitting zero, that extreme frugality reduces quality of life significantly, that time spent saving pennies could earn dollars, that expense focus doesn't create wealth, only preserves poverty, and that poor people stay poor through obsessive expense focus. The income growth strategies include developing valuable high-demand skills, starting businesses or side income streams, increasing value provided to customers or employers, asking for raises or charging higher fees, investing in income-generating assets, and treating income as primary focus area. The time allocation principle shows that millionaires spend time increasing income, that poor people spend time reducing expenses, that time spent earning beats time spent saving, that focusing on income creates upward spiral, and that focused choice determines financial trajectory. The value creation focus means asking, how can I provide more value? Thinking about serving more people better, focusing on increasing impact and value, scaling value delivery through systems, and understanding that income follows value provided. The expense obsession trap includes spending hours to save dollars, focusing on scarcity and lack, thinking small about money, staying in poverty mindset, and ensuring expense focus prevents wealth building. The income mindset questions include, what skills increase my earning capacity? How can I serve more people? What businesses could I start? How can I increase my value? And treating questions as wealth builders. The psychological shift involves redirecting mental energy from expenses to income, thinking about earning, not saving, asking how to make more, not spend less, focusing on value creation, and treating income as primary financial focus. The implementation requires shifting focus from expenses to income immediately, spending time on earning activities, not saving activities, constantly asking how to make more money, developing income-generating skills systematically, thinking about increasing value provided, and treating income focus as fundamental millionaire psychology, making wealth building possible where expense, obsession guaranteed, staying poor despite extreme frugality, because you cannot save your way to wealth. Expense focus keeps you poor. Income focus makes you rich. Focus on earning or stay broke. You understand now that focus determines results, that millionaires focus on income, that poor people obsess over expenses, that earning beats saving, and that Chapter 2 provides focus shift making wealth possible, where expense focus made poverty inevitable. Chapter 3. Millionaires invest in assets, poor people buy liabilities. Millionaires invest in assets while poor people buy liabilities, because asset thinking builds wealth. The asset mindset constantly asks, does this put money in my pocket? Actively seeks investments generating returns, thinks continuously about cash flow and appreciation, buys things that increase in value over time, treats money as tool for buying income-producing assets, and understands that assets make you rich, while liabilities keep you poor. Liabilities drain wealth. Assets build wealth. Buy assets or stay poor forever. Poor people demonstrate liability thinking by buying things that lose value immediately, purchasing depreciating consumer goods constantly, focusing on appearance and status symbols, spending on liabilities they mistakenly call assets, treating consumption as normal behavior, and ensuring liability purchases prevent wealth building completely. The asset definition shows that assets generate income or appreciate in value, that real estate producing rental income is asset, that businesses producing profit are assets, that stocks paying dividends are assets, that anything putting money in your pocket is asset, and that asset accumulation is wealth building. The liability recognition shows that cars are liabilities losing value immediately, that expensive houses you live in are liabilities not assets, that consumer goods are liabilities draining wealth, that anything taking money from your pocket is liability, and that poor people consistently confuse liabilities with assets. The wealth-building formula shows that systematically buying assets builds wealth over time, that asset income eventually exceeds expenses, creating freedom, that assets compound, creating exponential growth, that millionaires accumulate assets systematically and consistently, and that asset focus is fundamental wealth creation key. The asset categories include rental real estate, generating monthly income, businesses producing profit without your labor, dividend paying, stocks providing passive income, bonds paying interest consistently, intellectual property generating royalties, and treating asset acquisition as priority. The liability categories include cars losing value immediately, primary residence consuming money, consumer electronics and goods, expensive clothes and accessories, status symbol purchases, and treating liability purchases as wealth destroyers. The consumption trap shows that buying liabilities feels good temporarily, that consumer culture encourages liability purchases, that status seeking drives liability buying, that immediate gratification prevents asset accumulation, and that liability focus guarantees poverty. The asset accumulation strategy involves buying assets consistently before liabilities, investing first before consuming, treating asset purchases as priority, building income-producing portfolios systematically, and understanding that assets create financial freedom. The mental shift requires seeing purchases through asset versus liability lens, asking if purchase generates income before buying, prioritizing assets over consumption, resisting liability purchases, and treating asset thinking as wealth foundation. The delayed gratification principle shows that buying assets requires delaying consumption, that sacrificing consumption now creates asset wealth later, that assets eventually enable consumption from income, and that asset focus requires discipline initially but creates freedom eventually. The implementation requires understanding asset versus liability distinction clearly and deeply, buying assets instead of liabilities consistently, asking if every purchase generates income, investing in income-producing assets systematically, prioritizing asset accumulation over consumption, and treating asset accumulation as fundamental millionaire psychology, making wealth inevitable, where liability purchases guaranteed staying poor forever despite high income. Liabilities drain wealth. Assets build wealth. Buy assets or stay poor forever. You understand now that assets generate income, that liabilities drain money, that millionaires buy assets, that poor people buy liabilities, and that Chapter 3 provides framework making wealth possible, where liability focus made poverty inevitable. Chapter 4. Millionaires think long-term, poor people Think short-term, millionaires. Think long-term, while poor people think short-term, because time horizon determines wealth-building capacity. The long-term mindset consistently makes decisions for future self, not present. Delays gratification automatically and consistently. Sacrifices present comfort for future abundance willingly. Thinks decades ahead, not days. Invests for compound growth over years, and understands that wealth building absolutely requires long-term thinking. Short-term thinking keeps you poor. Long-term thinking builds wealth. Think decades or stay broke. Poor people demonstrate short-term thinking by seeking immediate gratification always, making decisions for present only, choosing pleasure over future wealth consistently, thinking only days or weeks ahead, consuming instead of investing constantly, and ensuring short-term focus prevents wealth accumulation completely. The compound effect shows that long-term investing creates exponential wealth over decades, that small, consistent actions compound dramatically over time, that patience is absolute wealth-building requirement, that time amplifies investment returns exponentially, and that long-term thinking is fundamental millionaire mindset. The delayed gratification power shows that millionaires delay gratification automatically without struggle, that sacrificing consumption now creates future abundance, that immediate consumption prevents wealth building entirely, that waiting multiplies rewards exponentially, and that delay capacity directly predicts future wealth. The long-term investment strategy includes investing for decades, not years, holding investments through market cycles, allowing compound growth to work, never trying to time markets, and treating time as most powerful wealth builder. The short-term trap includes seeking immediate pleasure constantly, consuming income as earned, thinking only about present, making impulsive purchases, and ensuring short-term focus prevents accumulation. The future self-connection involves visualizing yourself decades ahead, making decisions future you will thank you for, thinking about long-term consequences, caring about your future, and treating future self as real person. The patience principle shows that wealth building takes time always, that getting rich slowly is getting rich, that impatience keeps people poor, that long-term consistency beats short-term intensity, and that patience is millionaire virtue. The sacrifice willingness means accepting present sacrifice for future gain, choosing to invest over consume, delaying rewards for larger future payoffs, thinking about tomorrow today, and treating sacrifice as investment. The time horizon expansion involves thinking in decades, not days, planning for years ahead, making 10-year decisions, considering long-term impacts, and treating extended horizon as wealth requirement. The compound thinking understands that small amounts invested compound massively, that consistency over decades creates wealth, that time is investor's best friend, that patience multiplies returns, and treating compound effect as wealth creator. The implementation requires thinking in decades, not days or weeks, making all major decisions for future self, delaying gratification, consistently choosing future over present, investing for long-term compound growth systematically, thinking about consequences decades ahead, and treating long-term thinking as fundamental millionaire psychology, making wealth building possible where short-term thinking guaranteed poverty, through immediate consumption preventing accumulation and compound growth. Short-term thinking keeps you poor. Long-term thinking builds wealth. Think decades or stay broke. You understand now that time horizon determines wealth, that millionaires think decades ahead, that poor people think days ahead, that patience creates wealth, and that Chapter 4 provides perspective, making wealth possible where short-term focus made poverty inevitable. Chapter 5. Millionaires take calculated risks. Poor people fear all risk. Millionaires take calculated risks while poor people fear all risk, because risk tolerance determines wealth building capacity. The risk intelligence mindset carefully distinguishes calculated from reckless risks, analyzes risk versus reward rationally and objectively, takes smart risks consistently when odds favor success, manages risk through knowledge and preparation, treats calculated risk as wealth requirement, and understands that avoiding all risk guarantees poverty. Risk avoidance guarantees poverty. Calculated risks create wealth. Take smart risks or stay broke. Poor people demonstrate risk aversion by avoiding all risks indiscriminately, staying in comfort zone always, fearing loss more than desiring gain, choosing false security over opportunity, treating all risk as dangerous equally, and ensuring risk avoidance prevents wealth building opportunities completely. The calculated risk framework shows that successful risks have favorable odds when analyzed. That risk can be managed through knowledge and preparation. That biggest risk is taking no risks at all. That calculated risks create wealth consistently, and that millionaires are risk managers, not risk avoiders. The risk management principles include educating yourself thoroughly before taking risks, starting small and scaling up, diversifying to spread risk intelligently, calculating potential upside and downside clearly, having downside protection plans, and treating risk management as completely learnable skill. The entrepreneurial mindset recognizes that starting businesses always involves risk, that investment involves risk inherently, that changing careers involves risk, that all wealth building involves some risk, and that managing risk intelligently beats avoiding it. The risk education shows that knowledge reduces risk dramatically, that understanding investments makes them safer, that educated risks are calculated risks, that ignorance is riskiest position, and that learning enables smart risk-taking. The risk versus reward analysis means evaluating potential gains against potential losses, taking risks where upside exceeds downside significantly, avoiding risks with unfavorable odds, calculating expected value, and treating analysis as risk reduction. The comfort zone prison shows that staying comfortable guarantees poverty, that growth requires discomfort, that opportunities exist outside comfort zone, that risk aversion keeps you stuck, and that safety-seeking prevents wealth. The false security recognition understands that job security is illusion, that playing it safe is riskiest strategy, that avoiding risk doesn't eliminate risk, that comfort zone shrinks over time, and that security-seeking guarantees insecurity. The intelligent risk-taking involves taking calculated risks after thorough analysis, managing downside through preparation, starting with small manageable risks, learning from each risk taken, and treating risk-taking as wealth skill. The implementation requires distinguishing calculated from reckless risks clearly, taking smart risks after proper analysis, educating yourself to manage risks effectively, starting with small manageable risks, building confidence, learning from both successful and failed risks, and treating calculated risk-taking as fundamental millionaire psychology, making wealth building possible, where complete risk aversion guaranteed poverty through missed opportunities and staying stuck in low-income comfort zone. Risk avoidance guarantees poverty. Calculated risks create wealth. Take smart risks or stay broke. You understand now that risk intelligence separates millionaires from poor, that calculated risks build wealth, that risk avoidance prevents opportunities, that education manages risk, and that Chapter 5 provides framework making wealth possible where fear made poverty inevitable. Chapter 6. Millionaires learn continuously. Poor people stop learning. Millionaires learn continuously while poor people stop learning because knowledge determines earning capacity directly. The continuous learning mindset reads extensively every single day, invests heavily in education and skill development, learns from both successes and failures systematically, studies wealthy people's strategies intentionally, treats learning as career insurance and advancement tool, and understands that learning capacity determines earning capacity always. Learning stagnation keeps you poor. Continuous learning builds wealth. Learn constantly or stay broke. Poor people demonstrate learning stagnation by stopping education after finishing school, actively avoiding books and learning opportunities, believing they know enough already, refusing to invest in education and training, treating learning as optional or unnecessary, and ensuring knowledge stagnation inevitably leads to income stagnation. The knowledge-wealth connection shows that knowledge is most valuable asset anyone can own, that specialized knowledge commands premium compensation in marketplace, that learning new valuable skills directly increases income potential, that ignorance is extremely expensive over lifetime, and that continuous learning is fundamental millionaire habit. The learning investments include reading educational books daily, minimum 30 minutes, taking relevant courses and professional training, hiring coaches and mentors for guidance, attending valuable seminars and conferences, and treating education as highest return investment possible. The skill value principle shows that valuable skills command high compensation consistently, that rare skills are worth significantly more, that continuous skill development increases market value, that obsolete skills decrease income dramatically, and that learning protects against obsolescence and error. The reading habit shows that millionaires read extensively daily, that reading is compressed learning from experts, that books provide knowledge accumulated over lifetimes, that reading 30 minutes daily compounds dramatically, and that reading is wealth habit. The obsolescence danger shows that skills become obsolete without continuous learning, that markets change requiring adaptation, that what worked yesterday may fail tomorrow, that staying current requires learning, and that stagnation guarantees declining value. The mentor leverage means learning from those who achieved what you want, that mentors compress learning time dramatically, that guidance prevents expensive mistakes, that successful people share strategies willingly, and that mentorship accelerates wealth building. The learning sources include books from successful people, courses teaching valuable skills, seminars and conferences with experts, coaches and mentors providing guidance, and treating all sources as investment. The knowledge application involves implementing learnings immediately, not just consuming. That application creates results. That learning without action is entertainment. That implementation compounds knowledge, value, and treating application as learning completion. The implementation requires reading minimum 30 minutes daily, without exception. Investing systematically in skill development and education. Learning continuously from successful people and mentors. Staying current in field and industry. Studying wealth-building strategies intentionally, and treating continuous learning as fundamental millionaire psychology, making wealth-building possible. Where learning stagnation, guaranteed income stagnation, and eventual poverty through obsolescence. Learning stagnation keeps you poor. Continuous learning builds wealth. Learn constantly or stay broke. You understand now that knowledge determines income, that millionaires learn continuously, that poor people stop learning, that skills equal wealth, and that Chapter 6 provides commitment, making wealth possible where stagnation made poverty inevitable. Chapter 7. Millionaires network strategically. Poor people isolate or network randomly. Millionaires network strategically while poor people isolate or network randomly because network determines net worth literally. The strategic networking mindset intentionally surrounds themselves with successful people, actively builds relationships with wealthy individuals, deliberately seeks mentors ahead of them, joins high-level groups and associations strategically, treats network as valuable wealth asset, and understands that you become average of 5 people closest to you. Poor network keeps you poor. Wealthy network makes you wealthy. Upgrade network or stay broke. Poor people demonstrate poor networking by surrounding themselves with other poor people exclusively, actively avoiding wealthy individuals, having no mentors whatsoever, joining no professional groups or associations, treating networking as optional or unnecessary, and ensuring poor network keeps them poor through limited thinking and opportunities. The network effect shows that millionaires know other millionaires, that opportunities come through relationships consistently, that your network directly determines your opportunities, that wealthy people share strategies with each other, and that strategic networking dramatically accelerates wealth building. The relationship value principle shows that relationships open doors money cannot, that knowing right people creates opportunities unavailable otherwise, that referrals and introductions are invaluable, that collaborative opportunities multiply wealth exponentially, and that network is net worth statement is literally true. The strategic networking practices include attending events where successful people gather, joining masterminds and high-level groups, actively seeking mentors who achieved what you want, providing value to relationships before asking for anything, and treating networking as strategic investment. The proximity power shows that being around successful people raises your standards, that wealthy people think differently, observably, that proximity enables learning through osmosis, that successful people's expectations become yours, and that environment shapes psychology profoundly. The association principle means you become like people you associate with. That peer group determines your thinking. That surrounding yourself with poor people keeps you poor. That wealthy associations elevate thinking, and that choosing associations is choosing future. The mentor multiplication shows that mentors compress decades into years, that learning from successful people prevents mistakes, that guidance accelerates progress dramatically, that mentors open doors, and that finding mentors is wealth strategy. The networking investment includes attending conferences and events, joining paid masterminds, investing in relationships, providing value first, and treating networking as business investment. The isolation trap shows that working alone limits possibilities, that poor people isolate often, that isolation prevents opportunities, that going alone is going slow, and that isolation guarantees limited results. The value-first approach means providing value before asking, that givers receive more, that helping others creates reciprocity, that value builds relationships, and treating relationships as long-term investments. The implementation requires systematically upgrading your network, intentionally surrounding yourself with successful people, actively seeking wealthy mentors and coaches, joining professional associations and masterminds, providing value to relationships consistently, and treating strategic networking as fundamental millionaire psychology, making wealth building possible where poor network or complete isolation guaranteed limited opportunities, and poverty through lack of connections and exposure to wealth thinking. Poor network keeps you poor. Wealthy network makes you wealthy. Upgrade network or stay broke. You understand now that network equals net worth, that millionaires network strategically, that poor people isolate, that relationships create opportunities, and that Chapter 7 provides strategy, making wealth possible where poor network made poverty inevitable. Chapter 8. Millionaires focus on value creation. Poor people focus on time trading. Millionaires focus on creating value, while poor people focus on trading time for money, because value creation builds wealth exponentially. The value creation mindset constantly asks, how can I provide more value to more people? Thinks continuously about solving problems at scale. Focuses on creating systems and businesses. Actively seeks leverage through other people and technology. Treats value creation as only wealth path, and understands that trading time for money limits wealth severely. Time trading limits income. Value creation builds wealth. Create value or stay broke forever. Poor people demonstrate time trading mindset by trading hours for dollars exclusively, thinking primarily about hourly wages, believing hard work alone equals wealth, focusing on job security, treating employment as only option, and ensuring time trading limits income to hours available daily. The leverage principle shows that millionaires leverage systems and other people, that one person's time is inherently limited, that creating value once and selling repeatedly builds wealth, that businesses and investments create massive leverage, and that leverage is absolute wealth building requirement. The scalability difference shows that services requiring your time don't scale beyond your hours, that products and systems scale infinitely, that time-based income has low ceiling, that value-based income is unlimited potentially, and that scalability determines ultimate wealth potential. The value creation strategies include building businesses, not just working jobs, creating products, serving many people simultaneously, building systems, operating without your constant presence, investing in assets, generating passive income streams, and treating value creation as primary focus. The time trading trap shows that trading time limits income to hours worked, that even high hourly rates have ceiling, that time trading prevents wealth building, that jobs trade time for money, and that time trading keeps people poor. The business building focus means creating companies providing value at scale, that businesses leverage employees and systems, that business ownership creates wealth, that entrepreneurship is value creation, and treating business as wealth vehicle. The product creation approach involves making products serving many simultaneously, that products scale infinitely, that creating once and selling repeatedly multiplies income, that intellectual property generates ongoing revenue, and treating products as leverage. The system leverage shows that systems work without you, that automated systems generate income constantly, that building systems creates freedom, that systems multiply your impact, and treating systematization as wealth strategy. The passive income focus means building income streams not requiring active time, that rental income is passive, that dividend income is passive, that royalties are passive, and treating passive income as freedom. The implementation requires shifting from time trading to value creation, thinking immediately, building scalable income sources systematically, creating systems and products, serving many, focusing on providing massive value at scale, investing in assets generating passive income, and treating value creation focus as fundamental millionaire psychology, making wealth building possible through leverage, where time trading guaranteed limited income, and poverty through trading finite time. Time trading limits income. Value creation builds wealth. Create value or stay broke forever. You understand now that time is limited, that value scales infinitely, that millionaires create value, that poor people trade time, and that Chapter 8 provides strategy making wealth possible, where time trading made poverty inevitable. Chapter 9. Millionaires expect to win, poor people expect to lose. Millionaires expect success while poor people expect failure, because expectations become self-fulfilling prophecies, inevitably. The success expectation mindset genuinely expects positive outcomes in endeavors, deeply believes in own capability and potential, visualizes success consistently and vividly, maintains optimism through setbacks and failures, treats success as inevitable, eventual outcome, and understands that expectations profoundly determine actual results. Expecting failure creates failure. Expecting success creates success. Expect to win or lose. Poor people demonstrate failure expectation by expecting things to go wrong automatically, constantly doubting their own capability, habitually imagining failure scenarios, maintaining pessimism as default state, treating failure as inevitable outcome, and ensuring negative expectations create negative results through self-fulfilling prophecy mechanism. The self-fulfilling prophecy shows that expectations influence actions unconsciously and powerfully, that expecting success increases effort and persistence automatically, that expecting failure decreases effort and causes premature quitting, that brain actively seeks evidence confirming existing expectations, and that millionaires deliberately program success expectations. The belief power demonstrates that believing you'll succeed makes you try harder naturally, that confidence attracts opportunities and people, that expecting wealth fundamentally changes decisions, that positive expectations create positive results consistently, and that mindset determines outcomes more than circumstances or abilities. The expectation programming involves consciously choosing to expect success in all endeavors, visualizing positive outcomes daily with vivid detail, actively challenging all limiting beliefs about capability, deliberately surrounding yourself with positive optimistic people, and treating expectation as completely programmable through practice. The visualization practice means seeing yourself succeeding vividly, imagining wealth and success daily, feeling emotions of achievement, programming subconscious for success, and treating visualization as expectation builder. The optimism maintenance shows that maintaining optimism despite setbacks is millionaire trait, that pessimism prevents trying, that optimism increases persistence, that positive expectations sustain effort, and treating optimism as wealth mindset. The confidence building involves proving capability through small wins, documenting successes systematically, challenging self-doubt actively, building evidence of competence, and treating confidence as expectation foundation. The negative expectation costs include decreased effort automatically, premature quitting when difficult, self-sabotaging behaviors unconsciously, missed opportunities through inaction, and ensuring negative expectations guarantee negative results. The expectation shift requires catching negative expectations immediately, consciously replacing with positive expectations, visualizing success daily without fail, maintaining optimism through difficulties, and treating expectation management as ongoing practice. The implementation requires genuinely expecting financial success, not just hoping, deeply believing in wealth-building capability, visualizing millionaire outcome daily with emotion, maintaining optimism despite inevitable setbacks, challenging all limiting beliefs about money, programming success expectations through consistent practice, and treating success expectation as fundamental millionaire psychology, making wealth building possible, where failure expectations guaranteed self-sabotage and poverty through decreased effort and premature quitting. Expecting failure creates failure. Expecting success creates success. Expect to win or lose. You understand now that expectations determine results, that millionaires expect success, that poor people expect failure, that beliefs become reality, and that Chapter 9 provides programming, making wealth possible where negative expectations made poverty inevitable. Chapter 10. Millionaires take responsibility, poor people blame circumstances. Millionaires take complete responsibility while poor people blame circumstances, because responsibility creates power to change. The responsibility mindset owns all financial outcomes completely, refuses to blame economy or circumstances ever, sees self as cause of all results, takes full credit for wins and complete responsibility for losses, treats responsibility as ultimate power source, and understands that blame gives power away to external factors. Blame creates powerlessness. Responsibility creates wealth. Take ownership or stay poor forever. Poor people demonstrate blame mindset by blaming economy for their poverty, constantly citing circumstances as reasons for failure, viewing themselves as helpless victims, refusing accountability for financial results, finding external reasons for every failure, and ensuring blame mentality prevents improvement through powerlessness. The ownership power shows that taking responsibility enables improvement always, that blaming removes power to change anything, that ownership creates control over outcomes, that responsibility is profoundly empowering, and that millionaires own absolutely everything in their lives. The victim versus creator mindset shows that victims see only external causes beyond control. Creators see internal control and choices. Victims feel completely powerless. Creators feel powerful and capable, and mindset choice alone determines wealth or poverty. The accountability practice includes owning all financial results without exception, refusing to make excuses ever, consistently asking what I could do differently, learning systematically from all outcomes, eliminating all blame completely, and treating accountability as fundamental wealth foundation. The excuse elimination means recognizing excuses as powerlessness, that every excuse removes control, that explanations prevent improvement, that accountability enables growth, and treating excuses as wealth destroyers. The ownership mentality involves taking credit for successes earned, accepting responsibility for failures caused, viewing yourself as determinant of outcomes, refusing victim thinking completely, and treating ownership as power source. The circumstances transcendence shows that millionaires succeed despite circumstances, that circumstances are influences not determinants, that responsibility transcends circumstances, that ownership creates power regardless of situation, and treating circumstances as irrelevant. The blame costs include powerlessness to improve, victim mentality development, missed learning opportunities, continued poverty through inaction, and ensuring blame guarantees poverty through removing all control. The responsibility benefits show that ownership enables improvement immediately, that accountability creates power, that responsibility is empowering profoundly, that taking control changes outcomes, and treating responsibility as wealth creator. The implementation requires taking complete responsibility for current financial situation, regardless of circumstances, refusing to blame anyone or anything for poverty, ever, viewing yourself as sole cause of wealth or poverty, learning from all outcomes without excuses, eliminating all victim thinking completely, treating circumstances as irrelevant to outcomes, and understanding that extreme ownership is fundamental millionaire psychology, making wealth building possible, where blame mentality guaranteed continued poverty through powerlessness and victim thinking preventing all wealth building actions. You have learned millionaire psychology. Millionaires see abundance while poor people see scarcity. Millionaires focus on income while poor people focus on expenses. Millionaires invest in assets while poor people buy liabilities. Millionaires think long-term while poor people think short-term. Millionaires take calculated risks while poor people fear all risk. Millionaires learn continuously while poor people stop learning. Millionaires network strategically while poor people isolate. Millionaires focus on value creation while poor people trade time. Millionaires expect to win while poor people expect to lose. Millionaires take responsibility while poor people blame circumstances. What matters now is adopting millionaire psychology starting immediately. 5 implementation priorities. Shift from scarcity to abundance thinking. Focus on increasing income, not cutting expenses. Buy assets instead of liabilities. Think long-term, making decisions for future. Take responsibility for all financial results. Execute these systematically. Think like millionaire consistently. Act from wealth mindset. And build wealth through commitment. Stop thinking like poor person and start thinking like millionaire. Stop accepting poverty and start building wealth. Develop millionaire psychology systematically. Think about money like wealthy people do. Adopt wealth-building mental models. And master wealth-building psychology through unwavering commitment starting right now today.